disrupted.
America that I fought.
Weird thing to happen. Hello, one and all. Welcome to this edition of Kitz Corner. It's been a fantastic day so far. So I don't know if people witnessed the presidential debate recently. If you did, my sincerest apologies. I do have empathy for Americans dealing with the fact that you have two psychotic, insane idiots that want to take control over everything, and all of you have to suffer through this. I have deepest empathetic respect for that because as a Canadian, I know the feeling. I know the feeling. So to all the Americans, people out there, to my brothers and sisters in the other country, God bless you, and I hope for the best. Because obviously, whether red or blue, either way, they're both gonna screw you. But it is just absolutely crazy that we have witnessed train wreck after train wreck after train wreck, and people still on board with this train wreck. I don't know what else it's going to take, but I just want to showcase the insanity of just how pursuant people are when it comes to having this person, Joe Biden, who is clearly showing signs of mental decline, clearly showing signs of dementia, clearly showing signs of mental fatigue, and just needs to bow out of any stance of politics. He needs to go and enjoy the rest of his, last few years with his family, have nothing to do with politics, still want to pedestal him to the top. And someone put this together, and I thought it was kind of hilarious that they did, is this little video here, a montage of just how 4 years have gone by between his primary in the 2020 election compared to the recent 2024 debate. And you'll be in shock and awe at just 4 years. Now, I would argue that back in 2020, there were noticeable signs of dementia, but people kind of, brushed that under the rug. They didn't really care about that. But now, I hope that people are starting to wake up to this. I hope. But I don't know what else is going to take, but watch this.
I continue to think we have to make fundamental changes in civil rights, and those civil rights, by the way, include not just only African Americans, but the LGBT community.
He wants to get rid of the ability of Medicare
I did not oppose busing in America. What I opposed is busing ordered by the Department of Education. That's what I oppose.
Making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if
you will determine the outcome of this election, vote. Vote, vote. If you're able to vote early in your state, vote early. If you're able to vote in person, vote in person. Vote whatever way is the best way for you, because he cannot stop you.
And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look.
I hear you. I hear you, because I don't know what the hell he said at the end there. Something to do with Border Patrol, and we're going to cut back and we're going to stop it. You laugh when you see it, but then you cry when you realize that people are defending this. I literally feel like we're stuck in an endless Twilight Zone episode, and I'm the last, I'm the last person in a insane asylum trying to escape. Because people still defend this as Joe Biden's victory. They're still doing a victory lap to say that Joe Biden has the mental acuity to be president. He's sharp as a tack. He's ready for it. He went out there and answered questions. People still cannot see it. And there was people that saw it in 2020, even when he had the ability to think, even when he had that brain operating at its highest capacity, it was still the worst Biden. Because let's not forget, when his brain was actually functioning, he wrote the 1994 crime bill. He didn't want his children to live in a racial jungle. He wrote the Patriot Act. He was against gay marriage. So the best of Biden was actually the worst of Biden. And now I don't know if people just feel sorry for him. That's why they're trying to imagine him pedestaled as president, which I think is some form of elder abuse if you're trying to pedestal him to some higher responsibility that clearly he's not capable of. It baffles me. It literally baffles me when you get people deliberately lying to protect this guy, to protect his health, to say that he is still capable enough to be in charge of 330 million people, plus the economy, plus foreign affairs. Clearly, he has no state of understanding. But they pedestal him to be the top commander-in-chief and deliberately lied to you to say that the other guy is a nefarious liar. He's the one who's in mental decline. He's the old fart. People still deliberately lie to others to protect Joe Biden. It is just unbelievable. And that's just 4 years. That's just 4 years. You could see other clips of him earlier years where you could see the trajectory of when his brain started to melt. And it was way before any of this. It was way before 2020 that we saw his brain starting to go downhill. I mean, the man is 81 or 82 now. And they're chanting another 4 years. People are chanting another 4 years of this. It baffles my mind. It also baffles my mind that even back in the day, the Washington Post, as you're about to see here, the Washington Post, the biggest shooter for the Democratic Party, the biggest promoter of the mainstream deep state establishment, was even calling out Joe Biden's mental disabilities. The Washington Post was even calling this out back in 2020. But apparently we just swept that under the rug. We elected him, and I use that term loosely, got him into office, and now you're suffering through it. So watch what the Washington Post here did a video on this with a reporter discussing the many ways that Joe Biden had this mental decline way before he even got into the Democratic primary. A guy who was polling at 0.1% in the entire primary is now your president. Explain that to me. Explain the democracy out of that. Listen to this.
I watched what happened when the kids from Parkland marched up to, and I met with them, and then they went off to up on the hill when I was vice president. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. We choose truth over facts.
Biden had a stretch of 4 days in Iowa. Almost at each step, he had a gaffe, some of them larger than others, but misstatements throughout, coming at the same moment as there have been questions about him and his age. Some of that's stoked by President Trump, and some of it is coming from Democrats who are a little bit nervous about whether Biden in this campaign is the Biden that they have seen and known in past campaigns.
Joe Biden is not playing with a full deck. This is not somebody you could have as your president.
Sometimes in the past it would be sort of a roll your eyes at Biden just kind of being Biden.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent.
You got the first sort of mainstream African American who is articulate and bright.
It's a large, very identifiable Somali community. I might add, if you ever come to the train station with me, you'll notice that I have great relationships with them because There's an awful lot who are driving cabs.
When Biden is compared to President Trump, I think Democrats view his, misstatements as being fairly minor, by comparison. If you compare him with some of the other candidates in the race, then I think it draws more concern about, is there a better alternative? The gaffes that Mitt Romney had became so devastating in a way because it became a narrative around his campaign.
There are 47% of the people who will vote for the president no matter what.
John McCain had gaffes about not remembering how many houses he owned.
How many houses do you and Mrs. McCain have? I think I'll have my staff get to you.
John Kerry became known as a flip-flopper. Those are the more devastating kind of gaffes where it's not just kind of a quick misstatement that's corrected. It cuts to a heart of a different problem that the candidate has. President Trump's base is willing to overlook a lot of things about the president, whereas the Democratic base is a little bit different, and they're maybe not quite as willing to overlook some of those things, or at least they're willing to raise the questions about them.
Well, that's incredible that even the Washington Post, even as malice of a newspaper it is, brought to you by Jeff Bezos, the henchman Dr. Evil of Amazon, is even doing a report showing you that Joe Biden has many, many gaps that are concerning to the general public. That even Democratic voters are keying into this. Democratic voters are looking at this and going, yeah, this guy is not right. But he's the president, and now people are chanting another 4 years of this guy. Another 4 years. Because they deliberately lied to you. They consistently lied to you. They consistently lie about what you see out in the open. It's like George Orwell saying, don't believe your eyes and ears. That's what they tell you. Don't believe your eyes and ears. Listen to us explain reality to you. Even though it's completely obvious. There is hundreds and hundreds of clips of video and audio and print that has exposed Joe Biden for the mental decline, the pathetic liar that he is, the narcissist that he is, the war criminal that he is. Like, this guy is completely an insane psychopath. And I don't know what's more psychotic. The guy that's running the country, who clearly is having a faulty brain, a brain that does not function at all, or the people that are deliberately lying to support this guy. Deliberately lying to your face by doing this. But at least there's one person who is in support of this. One top dog in support of Joe Biden defending his actions at the debate. Barack Obama, or as Joe Biden refers to him as President, my boss. Remember that? He couldn't even remember President Obama's name when he served as vice president to him. He's the president, my boss. So here's what Barack Obama said about this. Barack Obama tweeted out, he said, bad debate nights happen. That's his defense. It was just a bad night. You know, when you go to a club and it's open mic night and you might not say the right joke at the right time. Yeah, it was just a bad night. Oopsie daisy. We'll recircle around. Like, how many more bad nights of Joe Biden are we going to have to suffer? So he says, bad debate nights happen. Trust me, I know. But this election is still a choice between someone who has fought for ordinary folks for his entire life and someone who only cares about himself. I wonder which one correlates with his saying there. Which one are you talking about? Between someone who tells the truth, who knows right from wrong and will give it to the American people straight, and someone who lies through his teeth for his own benefits. Again, you're defending the guy who openly lied about and plagiarized during his school years. That's why he couldn't run for president the first time. He was disqualified because he was a plagiarist. And he lied about he lied about his school records. He lied about being the top of his class. He lied periodically. And someone who lies through his teeth for his own benefit. Last night did not change that. And that's why so much is at stake in November. This is just unbelievable, folks. This is unbelievable. Mass manipulation. I don't know what else to say to you. I don't know what else to say. The fact that they're so, lenient when it comes to, Mitt Romney having gaffes or John McCain having gaffes, or, when George W. Bush was in office. You remember when George W. Bush was the ultimate joke of stand-up and late-night comedy? Remember when everybody thought he was the dumbest idiot on earth? Remember those good old days? George W. Bush, who couldn't exit the Oval Office, he ran around in a circle. My daddy was president, so I guess half a moron should also be president. Remember those good old days? Now we don't do that anymore. Now apparently it's offensive to make jokes about the president's declining mental health. Because he's a Democrat. Because he works for the deep state. And the deep state has ultimate control over everything. And that's who's really running the country. Joe Biden does not have a clue of where he stands. He has no clue how to get off a stage. Of course he's not running the country. It's the people behind him. It's the unelected bureaucrats that are in massive control of everything operating in America. And that's why they're trying to push for someone like Joe Biden, because Joe Biden is an easy puppet for them. They can just control him around. They can just move him around like a blind dog. They don't care. They don't care about leadership. They don't care about democracy. They don't care about you. They are self-serving narcissists that want their puppet in office for another 4 years so they can continue on their criminality behind your back. And they deceive you by purposely lying to you time and time again. And this is the ultimate lie because people are witnessing right in front of their face. And just like George Orwell, the evil masterminds will tell you not to believe your eyes and ears, your own eyes and ears. They'll tell you what reality is. And they want to tell you that Joe Biden just had an oopsie night. It was a bad night for him. We'll circle around and he'll once he gets, good medication, he'll be back to normal again. Same with, what's that TikToker's name that always defends him? Harry something. Oh, Joe Biden is a top mark. He's at the top mark for being president. I don't know what else I could say, folks. To the rest of America that has to suffer through this, I know your pain. I know your sympathy. And the fact that they're deliberately lying to you when people have witnessed it time and time again, they're reliving that moment on social media. We just showed how even just the last 4 years has been chaotic. And they want this guy to continue on. They're deliberately lying to you to allow this to continue on. It's mind-blowing. It's absolutely boggling. It's absolutely devastating. And I just don't know how much it's going to take for people to finally get through their heads to understand that having a demented psychotic buffoon at the helm of nuclear launch codes who's preempted to World War III is not a good leader. That's not leadership. That's insanity. That's psychotic. That's a mass murderer at hand. But this is how the deep state wants to operate because they don't want someone like Donald Trump, who's a wild card, that might interfere with their criminality, interfere with their agenda. That's why they're pushing a demented circus freak like Joe Biden. The signs are obviously there to people.